Well, of course, yes, Mark Masai, we received this information from our sources, and what we are informed is that the DCI detectives got here in the hospital from even as early as 8 o'clock. Some of them were here, they had already parked here because our sources are also informing us that the patient, that is Gideon Saburi, the Kilifi deputy governor, was discharged this morning and was ready to go home. But remember, yesterday during his address to the nation, and of course also announcing more infected persons who turned out positive for COVID-19, Mutahi Kagwe also reiterated that the DG had undergone 3 tests which turned out to be negative and therefore was ready to be released, but of course also maintaining that action will be taken against him. Remember, this comes after the DG is said to have arrived from an international event in Germany but failed to go for the 14 days mandatory, that is for self-quarantine, and was brought here at the Coast General Hospital where he completed his 14 days. Behind me, Mark, that is a national isolation center with a bed capacity of 19 patients. But of course, yesterday we were informed that 6 people as of yesterday were in quarantine, and of course also we're still receiving information that some of those patients, some of them even might, the numbers could even go up even as of today, but we're waiting to confirm that from the CS announcement today later at 3 o'clock. But what we know so far is that the detectives have been allowed to go in. They've been outside from since we got here, but we understand that there are certain guidelines, certain protocols that they have to follow before getting into the facility. One is putting on protective gear, and I have seen one of the senior DCI detectives entering that particular facility, and he has been in constant communication with the doctors and of course the heads of security at this particular facility. And Mark, it is something that definitely we have been monitoring. Remember, the government has been keen on this particular issue, and this is not only action that will be taken against the DG Gideon Saburi, but of course every other individual who defied the government's guidelines to go into mandatory 14 days of self-isolation in the fight against the spread of COVID-19. Remember, Mombasa, Kilifi, and even Kwale are among the counties that have been affected with the spread of the virus. Mombasa being marked as the hotspot with quite a huge number of infected persons after Nairobi. Mombasa follows, then Kilifi, and then again Kwale follows with another positive case for COVID-19. But right now, what we are informed is that from that picture, Mark, that way you're seeing right now, that is where we're expecting the DG to walk out from, and of course in the company of the detectives. And of course also there are 3 vehicles that are here on standby, and we're informed that one of the vehicles will be used to carry the DG to the nearby police station waiting for his arraignment. But what we don't know so far, if the authorities will stick to jurisdictions, then perhaps maybe even the DG might be taken to Malindi, because that is where he comes from in Kilifi County. And again, of course, also there's another possibility that he might be arraigned here in Mombasa. But what we know is that today being on a Friday, Mark, then of course there's a possibility that he might be in custody until Monday waiting for his arraignment. And this comes after the government categorically maintained that action, the law must catch up with him for failing to follow the procedures and protocols outlined by the government when it comes to dealing with COVID-19. So we are still on standby here at the Coast General Hospital in Mombasa, and of course as soon as we see any movement from that particular door, as soon as we see his picture, and of course definitely we'll still be back to you. But remember to stay tuned to NTV, and we'll be able to give you all what you need to know from not only here in Mombasa but the entire coast region with regards to the efforts being done by the health authorities and of course the law enforcement in combating the spread of the virus. Back to you, Mark Masai.